I've literally just spent like ages trying to avoid the sunlight because it's like blaring in the side of my face, and then as soon as I found somewhere in the shade, the sun's gone in. Never mind. Alright, so what I wanted to talk about today was sort of distinguishing the healthy voice and the eating disorder voice, and that concept, because it is quite big in the recovery world. I've heard it quite a lot. I've heard it from a few like psychologists that I've had and all of that, and honestly, I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple. Maybe you can, but I can't distinguish between a healthy voice and an eating disorder voice in my head. Like, it's all just one to me, or it was all one to me until I sort of worked out how to see it differently, which I'll explain in a bit. But yeah, my psychologist was like, do you have like, what does your eating disorder voice look like? I was like, just the same as my normal voice. That's all. It's just the same thought in my brain than any other thought, whether it's like, do your homework or not. Like, that's the same sort of voice I hear. It's not as simple as like, oh, it looks like a monster, or I don't know, like a gremlin. I wish they had a gremlin in my head? Not really, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I wish that I could distinguish between the two really easily, and early in recovery, like, I couldn't do that. Like, they were both the same, and I just couldn't understand it, and I was like, this, like, I'm not going to be able to recover, because it's all the same voice. I was like, I'm too far gone. That's bullshit. You are never too far gone. I thought I wasn't going to swear on this channel. It's a bit late now, but you can never be too far gone. That's what I wanted to say. I just want to really emphasise that. But yeah, they sounded exactly the same in my head. So yeah, and my mum was like, at the start of recovery, you just got to listen to the healthy voice. I wish I could just listen to the healthy voice. If it was that simple, recovery would not be such a difficult and long process as it is. So, sorry, I hate to put you off if you're at the start of recovery. It's worth it, trust me. But it is difficult and long, so I'm not going to sort of pussyfoot around that fact. But I keep losing track of what I'm saying. Yeah, so I just couldn't distinguish that. So what I had to do, I sort of had to externalise it and label the thoughts. So I had to sort of, instead of just thinking it, I had to sort of write down or get that thought and sort of take it out and put it in a sentence. So for example, it's like, say, I'm going to have a cereal bar instead of a pastry for my snack. Pastries were something that I feared a bit in my recovery, cereal bars less so. And I was very aware that pastries have more energy than cereal bars, so I was just a bit sort of scared of them, yes. And then what I had to do, really, so say that was in the head, that was a thought, I had to sort of externalise that, write a sentence. I want a cereal bar instead of pastry. And I sort of labelled that, okay, is that an eating disorder thought, or is that a healthy recovery thought? So maybe one way to do this was, if someone else was in recovery, like your friend, and they went and picked a cereal bar instead of a pastry, would you think that was the eating disorder driving that, or would you think it was the recovery healthy voice driving that? Personally, in that occasion, if there's a pastry there and that's something I feared and I'm not choosing it, and it's probably what I fancy more, then it's probably for me a recovery. No, it's not a recovery thought, it's an eating disorder thought. Yeah, so I hope I made that sort of make sense. Another one might be, okay, I'm making a coffee, or I'm buying a coffee, which I do so much, love coffee, and it could be, okay, am I going to have a white coffee, or am I going to have a latte? I think, I'm going to have a white coffee. Okay, that's probably an eating disorder thought, as lattes are so much nicer. So it's just about sort of having to see it as one or two thoughts and just labelling whether that's a recovery thought or an eating disorder thought. And then once you've done that, you have to be smart and you have to choose a healthy voice, and that's not always easy. If it was as simple as that, then it would not take so darn long to recover, and I wouldn't be in this car right now talking to a camera. No, it's not that easy, but you do have to really try and choose the healthy voice every time, because that's the quickest way to recover. Another way that I've started seeing it recently, which also I have not heard anyone say, so all of these sort of crazy ideas that I'm coming up with, just sort of, they're not from a psychologist or anything like that, they're just from my little sort of inner recovery coach that I talk to myself like I love coming up with new and creative ideas to sort of for recovery, because the same things can get a bit boring, so I like to come up with new things. Anyway, I sort of see it as like a board game. Hear me out here, hear me out. So at the start, you're at the start of recovery, and at the end is full recovery. That's the end sort of goal. And when you have a thought, you've got to think, okay, what is this? Is this going to be 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 1 step back? You obviously don't have to count how many steps forward you're making. Just in that moment, think, okay, is this steps forward or is this steps back? So let's take the pastries and cereal bar example. Having a pastry will probably be steps forward, closer to full recovery. But if I have a cereal bar, that will probably either keep me where I am or take me a step back. So you've got to sort of look at it in that manner, as in the full picture. It's going to get me a step closer to recovery if I do this, a step closer to full recovery, and that's like where everyone wants to be. Like, that's really where I want to be. So I think that's quite a good way of looking at it in my little brain that thinks in like a little board game. Then I know how fun. I know, really fun, isn't it? I want to think of as many examples as I can just to get my point across. Let's say the latte, again, having a latte, that's going to get me a step closer to full recovery. Having the white coffee is going to keep me where I am, probably, maybe a step back. Having a black coffee, take me 2 steps back, you know what I mean? So it's just about choosing those things that are steps closer to full recovery as much as possible. Okay, so breathe. I hope that made sense. Is there anything else I want to say on this topic? I don't think so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the shops. I'm going to get myself a pastry because I don't want a cereal bar. I'm going to get myself a pastry. Oh, because do you know what? The other day I tried having, it's called a pain au raisin. French A-level student, I know. A pain au raisin. And it was gorgeous. And now all I want is them. So I'm going to honour those cravings. And if I have to have it every day until I get bored of it, I will. Because they're gorgeous. And that will be closer to full recovery if I keep choosing options that I love. Okay, so you'll probably see the clip of me eating my pain au raisin now. Okay, I don't need to wait. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope this sort of helped you distinguish between the two voices, as sometimes it is difficult to do that. Well, I found it really difficult to do that. So, that's I just moved my whole car, it's going to break. No, that really... Okay, yeah. So, I hope this helped. If there's anything you want to hear me say, leave it in the comments below. If there's any questions you have, I'll try my best to answer. Everything I'm saying is not like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a dietitian, I am just speaking from personal experience and what helped me. If it does help you, then I am really glad. And if it doesn't, I'm very sorry, but there's plenty of other recovery channels on YouTube that may help you. So, have an amazing couple of days until I next see you, or just, if I don't see you again, make the most of your life, you know? Just enjoy it. Enjoy every day. Alright. Goodbye.